All right, Luke, we thank you for that. And I do have one more question. Do we know how old the victims are and why the shooting even happened?
Monica, we don't have any information about the victims, who they are, what age they may be. The only thing that we really have confirmed right now from our Sacramento Police Department sources are the hard numbers. Sad to say. 6 people have died, 15 others are hurt. We heard from Barry Axius, who is actively engaged in violence prevention work here in Sacramento earlier in this hit. He told us he has been with family members of the victims, and again, it's downtown Sacramento, so you have to imagine that this typically tends to draw a younger crowd. People in their 20s is what you would imagine when you're thinking about people coming out of the clubs at 2 in the morning on a Saturday night, Sunday morning in downtown Sacramento. So we're working to learn more information as we can, but again, we don't want to impede the investigators as they do their work, try to comb through the evidence and try to get a handle on what has been, again, just a tragic and devastating scene. We are going to be learning, no doubt, the stories, individual stories of people who lived through this terrifying experience and those who sadly died as a result of this, again, terrifying and horrible mass shooting in downtown Sacramento. Monica.
Right, thank you, Luke. We'll check back in with you shortly. Okay, I want to go to a map now of the location of the shooting so you can completely understand where Luke is at and where this mass shooting took place. Take a look at your screen. Here is the map of the location of the shooting. Reminder, it happened on 10th and J Street. This is a busy area in downtown Sacramento where a lot of young people go to enjoy themselves. This shooting happened late into Saturday night into Sunday morning. We are learning now that 6 people are dead, 15 injured. We also have video of gunshots ringing and people filling the streets trying to escape. We're also hearing from witnesses this morning who say they were there at the scene when the shooting began, and here's what they had to say.
As soon as we heard the first gunshots, all we did was just hide. That's the first thing that came in our mind, at least.
So we heard like several rapid, like a fully automatic weapon being fired. And then there was a response by another weapon that seemed like a semi-automatic, lower caliber. It kind of sounded like a Uzi.
Just a terrifying scene there. Again, we know for sure that 6 people have died, 15 are injured after a mass shooting in downtown Sacramento. This is near the bar scene where multiple people are going during the weekend, especially now that things have been lifted after COVID restrictions. But I do want to now go to some video that we've seen on social media. I do want to warn you, it may be hard to watch of the shooting when it took place. People going into the streets, you can see there. There you hear it, the gunshots going off in that video, people running to safety. Also looks like a brawl or a fight broke out as well. We do not have confirmed why this happened, who shot who, and how many people are continuing to be injured or hurt. But we do know at this time 6 are dead, 15 are injured after shots rang out in downtown Sacramento. You're taking a live look at some video that we got from social media on Twitter, actually, of this fight that broke out. We're not sure if the fight is the reason for the shots being fired, but we do know this. We know 6 people have died, 15 injured. We have Luke Cleary on the scene, but you're taking a look, and again, this may be hard to watch. People are fighting. A brawl broke out in downtown Sacramento where the mass shooting took place. And then you hear in this video, I want to be able to bring up the sound again of the shots ringing as people fled into the streets trying to escape and get to safety. Now I want to bring back in Luke Cleary so we can get a live look at the scene this morning as police are still there. There's a heavy police presence. Luke, tell us, what are authorities telling you, and is it safe to go to the area?
Monica, it's definitely not the time to come to downtown Sacramento. There's a very large perimeter here. As you can see, police tape behind me. This is 9th and K Street. We are looking straight up ahead toward 10th and K Street, where we understand this mass shooting occurred sometime at or around 2 a.m. this morning. Now, in terms of victims, 15 people hurt, 6 people killed, and we understand that right here on scene, actually, we've been corralled into sort of a media staging area by Sacramento Police Department. We are still awaiting word from a public information officer who may be able to shed some more light on this early stage of their investigation. However, that information is not forthcoming just quite yet. The police officers that we do see here are basically conducting traffic control, maintaining, again, this police perimeter. And so we may not get an update in the next several minutes or so as we just kind of await whatever tidbits we can get. I can tell you that it appears that there may be a family member of a victim right here on scene now, just kind of joining us, looking up toward the crime scene. We're going to try to make contact with this person and see if she may speak with us about her experience. But again, you have to understand that this is just hours after this horrifying, terrifying scene played out here. And so the emotions are incredibly raw. And as we've seen, and I'm sure you know, Monica, covering incidents of violence in and around Sacramento, oftentimes those who are victimized by it or who know someone dear to them who has been or who has sadly died of gun violence, there is also a fear about speaking out, a fear of retribution, that they'll be seen, quite frankly, as looking like a snitch if they're caught speaking with media. And so oftentimes there is some reluctance on the part of victims to share their story with media, which is completely understandable. But we are going to try and make contact with those who witnessed what happened here, saw what played out, and may be personally impacted. Someone that they love having either been shot or even killed. So again, we're going to continue working this scene. We'll continue reaching out to our Sacramento Police Department sources to get our hands around the latest updates in this ongoing investigation. And we will continue to bring those updates to you just as quickly as we can, Monica.
And Luke, I know you're talking to community activists who are there on the scene with you. What are they saying about the victims and the families who have been affected?
It's just devastating. It's just devastating, Monica. We spoke with Barry Axis, who has long been a member of the violence prevention network community here in Sacramento. So we met him on scene after briefly after I arrived here, just before 5 this morning. And what he told us is that he got a call close to 2 this morning. He arrived here on scene to just the heartbreaking situation that was playing out here. He said one of the most striking things that he saw just after arriving was a couple of young women whose t-shirts were covered in blood. People that had witnessed this terrifying incident unfold. So he's been working with victims and with the family members to help them out through a very difficult time. We can actually probably bring him on here live in a few moments to continue to speak with him about his experience out here and in this work. But again, this is an incident with 6 people dead, 15 people hurt, that I believe that we're going to be reporting about and talking about for many days, weeks, in fact, for years to come. This is not the kind of thing that you expect to ever to happen in a downtown district that is meant for people to have fun, to go out and enjoy themselves, especially as we're coming out of this 2 years of pandemic restrictions and really hoping to start to finally come together and enjoy life again. This is just kind of the last thing that you'd want for your downtown nightlife district at a time like this, Monica.
And Luke, I know you said you spoke with Barry Axius. He is large and very big in their community. Talk to me about what he said when it comes to the victims' ages, because I know he works closely with the youth. Were they teenagers? Were they in their 20s? Do we know anything about who these victims were and how old they were?
So